It's time to go!
Manchester United have just been beaten 4-0 by Crystal Palace, and this leaves Manchester United at 8th. This is a chance of them missing out on Europe altogether. Chelsea have now leapfrogged Man United on 54 points, the same number of points, but have a better goal difference. Man United's goal difference is -3 after playing 35 games. That is insane. Looking at the race for Europe, I would say Villa have all but wrapped up top 4. They will qualify for the Champions League. I think Spurs are now favourites for the automatic qualification for Europa League, which is the 5th spot. Now, depending on the winner of the FA Cup, Man United actually have a chance to qualify for Europa League just by winning the FA Cup. That's how it works. They will get the priority spot. Just to elaborate on that, we know that in Europe, Premier League teams will be given 7. That is because in terms of the coefficient, the Premier League did poorly in Europe this season, so they will not get additional spots. But because the top 4 is all but wrapped up, in my eyes, I think it's really unlikely to change. And Spurs have a healthy point difference between Newcastle and Chelsea. Spurs will make it to the Europa League, and that's 5th spot. The 6th spot is reserved for a Premier League team to get into Europe, but the priority would be given to the team that actually wins the FA Cup. So Man United still have it in their hands in that regard. Man United can beat Man City. If they do beat Man City, they will get Europa League. Right now, Man United still have to play Arsenal in their next game, and it is not looking good because Arsenal are literally top of the league right now. Although Man City have a game in hand, they have scored the most goals this season and they've conceded the least. So United will be going up against probably the best team in the league this season as of this moment. And are they likely to win? With all these injuries and with all their recent performances, I think not. So I do think Chelsea actually have a good chance of making a late charge for Europe. If you remember, Jurgen Klopp said that they missed an opportunity to beat Man United at Old Trafford, and that if United play in the same way against Arsenal, they will lose the game. And Man City's coach Pep Guardiola did say that if Man City drop any points during these final few games, they will not win the title because they believe Arsenal will win all their games, including Man United away at Old Trafford. And I think that's everyone's assessment on the situation, because United are performing extremely poor, and this is the most losses that they've ever had in a Premier League season. And also, this are the most goals that they've ever conceded in a Premier League season. Insane, ever in the history of the Premier League. Yes, I'll agree. I'll admit it is a complicated situation to assess. They have no fit centre backs and they have struggled with injuries the whole season. So it's a difficult situation for Erik ten Hag to manage. And I talked about it earlier on in my reviews of Man United and Erik ten Hag, or whether he should be fired or given the sack. But I do understand it's a complicated situation. He's had to deal with the Ronaldo, the Jadon Sancho situation, Rashford. There's a lot that's been going on even behind the scenes with transfers. But at the end of the day, having these results are consistent with what we've seen from Man United the whole season. They finished bottom of the group in the Champions League and got eliminated when in the group they had Galatasaray and Copenhagen. I do not think that is an excuse that is good enough to use right now. Erik ten Hag, in his post-match assessments, I just think he's not very honest, and he hasn't been the whole season. Recently, he's just said Man United are the most exciting and dynamic team to watch in the Premier League. Are you serious? Like, come on. What are we doing? Let's be honest. And in my opinion, I do think overall, 13 losses, the number of these goals conceded, they are all down to coaching. And if probably there was a better coach out there for Erik ten Hag, this would have not happened. For Man United, excuse me. If there was a better coach for Man United, I do think this would have not happened. 13 losses is crazy. 81 goals conceded is crazy. We are literally 3 games away from the rest of the season, from finishing off the season. And this is the structure, or this is the current state of Man United right now. And yes, I do think they still have something to play for. They need to finish off strong. They need to also win the FA Cup, I think, to rescue the season. But at the end of the day, it's been poor from all Man United players, from the Man United coach, and from Man United as a whole, even their fans. I think Onana's season overall now, I think we can say has been poor. Although it's been amazing at certain times and important for Man United, I think ultimately his butterfingers have cost Man United a lot of matches. Casemiro was absolutely ripped into last night. He was dribbled 8 times. He was dribbled past 8 times. And Carragher absolutely ripped into him and said he should actually retire. Not necessarily retire, but play his last few games at the top level the rest of the season and then go to the MLS or Saudi and basically take a retirement package. That is insane. I'm not sure if it's the most professional thing to say because Casemiro was actually very good last season and his standards have slipped. I still think with 2 years on his contract, but he's on heavy wages. Everyone knew that in the long term that wasn't a good deal because of his age. At 31, he was bought for 70 million and put on 300 and something pounds per week. That is insane. We already knew that it was going to be a big deal, and now we're acting shocked. Now we look shocked because his age is catching up with him. Come on, we already knew this. Are Man United improving? I don't think so, but they did get a tremendous amount of support from the fans last night who stayed behind and clapped hands for them in the stadium. Very classy act, and they still have a big game against Arsenal, which they can maybe lift the mood, lift the spirits if they do get a result, and also they have something to play for, which is Europe, finish the season as strong as possible, and a possible shot at a title, or else Chelsea do catch up with them. They can win the FA Cup final, beat Man City, and qualify for Europe, but relying, for example, on Man United to stop this Arsenal team, maybe if you're a City fan, I don't know. It's just like also if you're an Arsenal fan relying on this current Tottenham squad to stop Man City and guarantee you the title, I don't know. I'm not so sure at the moment.
Oh, come on, Vic. Everyone's saying top four. Of course we're going to be in the top 4. Look at the football we're playing. Look at the players we've got. Look at the manager. You know, of course we're going to be in the top 4. That would be a disaster if we don't get top 4 now. We're fighting for the title. Why not? Why can't Tottenham win the title? I keep saying it. Why
this
not?
has aged like milk, to be honest, and they've actually bottled top 4. That's your Premier League weekend in a nutshell. Arsenal remain on top after winning, but they did get some help from the officials. I do not think Bournemouth's goal was illegal. I do think that should have been a goal to not give the goal. I think it was very soft by VAR not to give the goal. Ben White literally does this to keepers every single week. The other day, he was literally trying to untie Vicario's gloves at Spurs. Arsenal scores from corners the most because they do put Ben White on the keeper, but now it's happened to them, then they get favor. I'm not so sure about that. And what's up with Arsenal and trailing legs? We know Bukayo Saka was literally giving an all-time trailing leg against Bayern Munich. The referees didn't give a penalty. That's the difference. That's classy refereeing from the Champions League. But in the Premier League, it will always be given. And that's what Kai Havertz showed us, that he literally dragged his foot into the keeper and the penalty was given for the 1-0. I do think Arsenal win the game anyway, so I'm not, crazy about it. Arsenal were always going to win that game, so I'm fine with that. But at the end of the day, the refereeing, as also what we saw from Man United last night, with the goal being disallowed, was absolutely soft as well. The refereeing has just been poor this season, and it's actually spoiled a really good title race. With that being said, that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to chase after them?
Venom Man is on the beat, bro.